Okay, welcome back to the Tubs at the Club podcast, Brave and Bold. Chris is on a hiatus. I am your host today. They call me the Godfather, the founder of Tubs at the Club, Sean Kramer, coming to you from the beautiful country of Taiwan. With me, I have my co-host Martin, always vandaling it up, former band member. And with us, we have an absolute legend, two-time Western Athletic Conference champion, Alyssa Charlston, is with us today. How you doing, Alyssa?
I'm doing so well after that intro. It takes me back to the glory days. My ego is like up here now.
It's just getting started. Your ego is going to be to the roof by the end of this.
Whoa, Sean. Hold your horses. I know you're excited and you're getting into it. And I got to thank you. You saved this episode. Not only was I not on it with one of my all-time Vandal faves and Alyssa Charlston because I'm an idiot and broke my foot, but you also saved the episode because we lost it and you were lucky enough to download it, be able to share it. We're here to give it to the people. But one of the reasons we're able to give it to the people is because Montucky Cold Snacks helps keep the lights on. Ain't nothing like cracking a Montucky Cold Snack, an ultra refreshing light beer born in majestic Big Sky country. The best part is when you crack a snack, you're giving back. Montucky Cold Snacks donates 8% of all profits back to local causes, even right here in Idaho, supporting organizations like the CW Hogs and the Idaho Food Bank. Yee-haw, that's frickin' awesome. Montucky Cold Snacks, a light American lager for pow rippers, gator wranglers, pony riders, and badass do-gooders. Visit MontuckyColdSnacks.com today to find out how to get some snacks. Now, I won't keep you guys any longer. Enjoy this episode. It's freaking awesome.
And always excited to talk Vandals. We've recently had Max Ford on. We're going to have the Splash Sisters on. We're going to have another Vandal legend, Theo Lawson. It's going to be on.
Yes, I get to hang out with him a lot at games. Well, not anymore, but I get to see Theo all the time.
Hopefully soon you will be able to be as busy as you want to be, and we'll get into what you're doing these days. But first, Alyssa, I just want to talk to you about, it's the big question, why Idaho? Obviously, all of us are graduates of this amazing college, and we're so proud to be graduates of Idaho. And every time, the topic comes up, we're just so excited to talk about Moscow. So when people ask you, why did you go to Idaho? What do you tell them?
Honestly, the first thing that comes to my mind is family. I mean, the difference of going to other colleges and going on official visits to different schools, yes, they're a team, but there is a family vibe at Idaho that you did not feel in other places. And I knew right away that I'd be able to make an impact. John kind of told me that they were going to give me a chance to make an impact on the team early. And I had a lot of friends above me that were at Pac-12 schools or Big 12 schools and riding the bench. And that was for the foreseeable future. And that was kind of freaky to me. Like it's cool to say that you go to UW or cool to say maybe you go to USC, but did you make an impact? Did you actually enjoy your time there? And when I went to Idaho, man, the people, I was looking it up. I went to my official visit was the weekend they beat Hawaii in the Dome. Like Mike Upati was a senior, Rob Akey's third year. Like there was just so much good around the program, and it was such a fun atmosphere. Moscow, like there's nothing like it. Like it's a college town, but it's also a community outside of that. And I just I fit with the team, I fit with the coaches, and everything they were telling me, they made good on it. And I didn't know that going in, but I had a vibe that they would be those kind of people, and it fulfilled and exceeded my expectations.
I know, and you being a greater Seattle area girl, did it really help that you were going to be able to stay in the Pacific Northwest, especially because the basketball culture around Seattle is just huge. So I imagine that you wanted to stay in a place where you could still feel that.
Yeah, absolutely. And my parents, a quick 5-hour drive, they got to see so many of my games. Like there was a potential I might have gone to Iowa State or St. Mary's. Like that would have been expensive places to go to. My parents actually got to see me play in person for most of my career, and being still connected to Seattle and still knowing what's going on over there was huge.
Yeah. So when you got in as a freshman, the program was still building. I don't want to say struggling, but they were still building, and the wins weren't coming as quickly as you wanted. Your freshman year, your sophomore year, how was that process, especially for you coming in as a high school star, and maybe you learned some things really quickly. Oh man, maybe I'm not as good as I was. I need to get better.
Super humbling, no matter what. Like that freshman year, we had 4 or 5 seniors. I think we had all 5 seniors start, or no, 4 seniors starting, 1 junior. So really heavy loaded with experience, vets. We were good. I think we made it to the quarterfinals of the WAC championship that year, but a lot of experienced people ahead of me, and they fell short of it. We fell short of expectations that my freshman year because we had so many good seniors: Yinka, Olaruna Faye, Dorisa Delaney, and Rochelle Clokey, just such a loaded squad. And then sophomore year was like definitely the biggest struggle for me because we had a losing record. We just, nothing was clicking, and we were all friends. We were all close. So at least off the court, everything was really fun, but it is really humbling to go from the high school was like we were a pretty good program, but we were nothing that was gonna like blow your socks off. And freshman year was, I mean, you're getting used to everything. Like the first, you hop right in and you have conditioning 2 days a week at 6 a.m., lifting at 6 a.m., 3 days a week. And in addition to practice later on, it's just like that schedule is so mind-numbingly tough to get used to, but then you do. And then sophomore year, I think we just hit toward the end of it. We didn't finish where we wanted to, but at the end of it, we were like, okay, we've got some building blocks. We had a really good recruiting class coming in. Like Christina, Connie, Allie, that crew was game changing. So we were really excited at the end of that year for that.
Yes. So your junior year is when it all really turned around. And I think I remember the turning point is when you guys went to Gonzaga and got blown out, if I remember correctly. That bus ride back, you guys were 3-8.
Was it senior year that we only lost by 8? I think was that senior year?
No, this was the year before you played them close. The year before they beat you pretty bad, and you came back. The team was 3-8. Obviously, when the conference season started, that's when things started to click. That's when Connie got comfortable, being a ball handler. That's when Christina found her shot. That's when Allie was really learning to be physical on the inside. I mean, what was it like, coming from 3-8, and then obviously we'll get to Las Vegas, but during that conference season, started to see it click. What were the keys for the kids? What was the key for you?
I think we were so competitive in practice, and we were all really friendly, but you noticed the difference between what kind of players John recruited and brought in. It matched my competitiveness. It matched Stacy's competitiveness. These girls were in here to start, and they had the high expectations coming in. They were starting early on. Christina, Allie made her way in with competing with Jeff Graham, and the practices were just brutal. We went at it night in, night out, and that really made us better. Allie and I were always going against each other, and when we got to play with each other on a team in practice, it was like, oh, let's go. You knew you could take over. And I think it honestly is, it might sound corny, but yeah, I think it really started in practice, and that's when it clicked, and we just started not dominating teams, but we would dominate some teams in the WAC and then play others close, and then led into Vegas, and that was fun.
Yeah, the thing about Vegas in 2013 was all of those games were close. You won the quarterfinal, if I remember correctly, on a buzzer beater. The semifinal was close, and then the championship game against Seattle. How nerve-wracking was that for you? But also, do you think it was more important for you guys to win games like that as opposed to just being dominant and not being challenged?
Yeah, I totally think that's the case. I mean, it feels like a long time ago, but now I see, like, because I cover Gonzaga, I see them crush teams in the WCC regular season, and then teams give them a battle because everything changes. You reset the scene once you start the tournament. So for us, like, that first game, San Jose State, it was like a 3 versus a 6, I think.
Yeah, you were.
Chrissy Carr. Yeah, Chrissy Carr with, like, the drive and finish at the end, and that said us we weren't supposed to be that close, but San Jose stepped up and they played so well, and so we were prepared to take on Utah State. We were the 3 seed, they were the 2, I think, and Utah State was supposed to win that. Like, Devin Christensen, I think she had 37 points in that game. Like, could
She's
not
the Idaho, right? She's from Idaho.
She's what? Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Idaho. Yep. She went off, and but we got a really good game from Stacy. I think Marin hit a couple threes. Marin Auskulin, and that game was so much fun. That was truly, like, shocking. The looks on our faces from those photos, I love to look at them because I remember being like, we just did that after they swept us in the regular season. So, and then Seattle U, we just hated them. Like, that was a true
Yes, that was a real rivalry. I could tell just the way that you guys interacted on the floor. You guys didn't like each other.
Yeah. There was a lot of crap talk, a lot of they played dirty. I'll tell them that to their faces now because I know some of those girls, but their coach, I don't know, there was just bad blood, but it was fun.
Is there a certain event that sparked it?
Oh, for me, it was at home. I think the first game we played them in Moscow, and it was like a 1 or 2 point game, and the coach drew up a play for me because we were down 1 or down 2, and one of their players, I forget her name, she was a point guard. She was my year, and I played against her in AAU all the time. And I think I had a missed dribble, or I messed up. I turned the ball over or something, or it didn't go well. And she was in my face like, it was all on you. You choked right there. So
Really?
I remember that going forward. And that set it up for junior and senior year.
Okay. Yeah, it does help with those rivalries when you keep seeing people over and over and over again, right?
Yeah, it does. Totally does.
Okay. I want to save UConn and get into how you guys took that into the next season. Like, that, the next season you guys had was absolutely historic. Like, you came so close to going undefeated so close to being undefeated in the WAC. You guys more or less tore through I think there was one challenge in the conference tournament, but otherwise I think you guys were behind New Mexico State at halftime in the semis, but you won. But you guys really handled everybody. I mean, what was that like? I mean, all of a sudden, most of your career is, we're not that good, we're getting better, okay, we're there, and then all of a sudden you're dominant. You are the new Fresno State of this conference. What was that like?
Yeah, that's a good comparison. I think it was just the end of that season, under the end of our sophomore year. It was like we, finished it out in the NCAA tournament. There was so much confidence. Like, for me, as one of the leaders on the team coming back, I was like, we need to keep this thing going, and we need to make sure that our confidence is high, and like we have the same kind of like intensity in the off season, in practice. Like, that's our new standard. And that was like a theme we carried. Like, this is the new standard to make it to the NCAA tournament. And anything beneath that is not good enough. It doesn't matter that sophomore year or freshman year, like Stacy and I and a few of our other seniors were like, well, I guess I was the only senior. Well, no, Addie was, but
Skeevo.
Oh, I love her. She's one of my faves.
Yeah. She is the quintessential glue player. Just the defense. She can score when all the scorers are covered. She was fun to watch.
Yeah, and best kind of shooter. The best shot for her was off 1 foot. She could make any shot off 1 foot from anywhere on the court. Like, it was so wild. But
like Kobe?
Yes, exactly. Rest in peace. So yeah, I think that like the standard was just a whole new level, and that was the expectation. Like, that, there's just something in your brain that churns, that clicks, and it's like, that's who we are, and that's what we are from now on. Like, this is what I know. This is what I know we can be. We're way too good, way too many returners. And I think we should have beat Cal that year in the preseason. We should have beat Gonzaga. Like, we lost by 8. We were up at half, and like that, those kind of games just reinforced what we should have been. And I honestly love the teams that have come since, but I would love to go against the teams that won the Big Sky, and the Splash Sisters would love to put our team against them. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah.
But we get Christina and Connie. Those are ours. That's me. Yeah, we get Allie.
All right. So let's talk about the big NCAA tournament games, because I remember two things. Number one, I remember in 2014, I was in the room and I was looking directly at John's face when they announced you were a 14. That's good, right? But they announced number 4 in the country, Louisville, as a 3 seed, and John's face was livid, and he's trying to hide it, but John can't hide his emotions.
No.
Livid. So you guys have to go play the number 4 team in the country, who should have been a 1, Louisville. Let's talk about that trip. Then we'll track back to UConn, because all due respect to amazing program at Louisville, UConn's a different league. So let's talk about Louisville first. Your last game.
Yeah, going into that one, we were pissed because we knew that they deserved to be a 2 seed or a 1 seed, but it's also an opportunity to play against an even better team than we expected. And once you get past UConn, honestly, at that point, if I'm being totally honest, there's so much. It's UConn, and then your 2 through 7 or 8, 9 seeds, their group, and they're a separate group from UConn, and then the rest. Yeah. So if you get anyone other than UConn, it's like, okay, there's a chance. And like going against Louisville, like Shoni Schimmel, she was someone I played against all the time. One of the best Native American players, really represents the Native American culture so well, and like brought that up to, prominence. And the way she played, it was so showy and so much fun, like step backs, and I don't know, she was just so much fun to watch.
She's from Lapwai?
I don't know if she's from Lapwai. She might be from Oregon. Okay. Or maybe she is from Lapwai. I mean, she might have some relation to them. Okay. I thought she was like Pendleton or that area. But so playing them, like I think we were really close to halftime. They tried to press us, and we kind of tore apart their press and got early buckets. But the Iowa City or Cedar City, I think it was Iowa City, playing in that gym, Iowa Hawkeyes, that was so much fun. That was a great venue, really good fan base. And just the whole, like, getting chartered, getting all your meals, like no limit on your meals. You get to have like whatever you want, snacks everywhere you go. Like I was all about that. So, and it was like your last go around, my last go around. So it was like, you put it all out there.
Like it was a reward well deserved.
Yeah. Okay. At the end of the season, for sure.
And then obviously, not only do you get to play UConn, you get to play at UConn. You get to play at that gym. I mean, obviously you go into that game and you're just going to be like, I'm going to play my basketball, see what happens. You don't expect to lose, but you have a good idea that it's an uphill battle. But still, I mean, when you were out there competing with those players, was that just an affirmation to you that you belonged there, that you were really going to try and pursue professional basketball after that?
Yeah, I mean, up to that point, like a lot of people don't know, like we loved each other so much on that team, but there was a lot of struggle inside the team that year, just with like a bunch of different things, and fighting Matt and getting to where we were. It was like, it felt so good to get there and actually win the WAC tournament and make sure that we got there. But there was a moment right before we tipped off where I looked across and I saw the UConn jersey, and just like all my childhood memories flashed before me. Like, this is what I've always wanted, to go against the best, to be on the best floor of women's basketball for a long time. And other friends, like for me, it was an affirmation, that I wanted to continue to play and play pro and play against the best. But it was also like, I chose Idaho, and it was the best choice of my life because I'm here at the NCAA tournament. And my other friends that are in different conferences that didn't have a shot at making the NCAA tournament because you only get one automatic bid, right? Like, that is a game changer. That was so surreal to me. I think about that all the time, like the freeze frame of like seeing the UConn jersey and being like, yeah, this is what I always wanted to get to. But dude, they just kept coming at us with like 6'3", just rotating, freak athlete after freak athlete. And I don't tell people this. We lost by that much. And Breanna Stewart wasn't even playing. Like, I don't tell people that because it was that bad. They are so good, so freakish. First play of the game, I get knocked in my butt by their point guard while I'm trying to take a foul. Like, they're play off right off the tip off. And I was like, cool. This is how it's going to go. Gina Martin had the audacity to like pat John on the butt after the game. Like, they're cool friends. Like, I don't know. And John told us that, and I was like, are you proud of it? Or like, how do you feel about it? Do you feel a little bit like inferior? I think he was cool with it. Gina Martin had patted him on the butt. So that happened. So maybe his best day of his life too.
He's never going to wash those pants.
Never.
Never.
No chance.
Talk about what it was like to get coached by John. I mean, John is a guy who does not hide his emotions. He puts what he thinks on his face. He's good with his words. He can try and talk around his emotions, but the more that you know him, the more that he's just so easy to read. But I would imagine sometimes playing for that kind of coach is a good thing because you always know what they think. You always know what they think about you.
That's such a good point, and that's not something I think about often, but it is the absolute truth. Going into it, yes, every coach is different with how they recruit you and how you actually get coached once you're there. They're going to be harder on you once you get there. But John was incredibly tough on me, like incredibly tough. And I've had male coaches before. I'd only had one female coach ever. And there is a different vibe that you get from male and female coaches, but he would get after me and get under my skin, and like, because he wanted me to believe what he believed about me. And to this day, like, I don't know if there's any person that's been more influential in my life than him, because having someone that believes you're something before you are that something it can change your life. It truly can. Like, I totally viewed myself completely differently, like so much more confidence. And it was because of those moments in practice where he was getting in my face instead of someone else's when someone else made a mistake. Like, granted, I made a lot of mistakes, but when it was not just my fault, it was on me. And he made me the example. Like, yeah, exactly. And he wanted me to be that, saw that from me from the beginning. And, you know, I had never fought back, but afterward, like, the fact that we can still be friends and have a great relationship now, like, I'm so grateful for everything he's done for me. And I don't know if he'll tell you this, but he definitely cried at my graduation party after that loss to Louisville. We had like a 15-minute cry session in the locker room at Iowa, just because you mean so much to someone. He meant so much to me, and I meant a lot to him because it's his whole life, right? That's his job. And I'm trying to please him this whole time. But at the end of the day, it's like, wow, he was just growing me. So I don't think a lot of people have that kind of relationship with their coach. I could talk about it for so long, but at the end of the day, like you said, like, I get experiences from other teammates, other friends from high school that were like, even over at Gonzaga, like, I heard one thing and he coached me a different way, and then he would get mad at me for something completely different. And I'm like, dang, I never had that. It was a straight path. It was like, you're doing this wrong. Don't do it again or you won't play. Like, he was so clear about what he wanted. And the relationship we have now is what I'm probably most grateful for.
Yeah, I've seen John get emotional, anger, and I've seen him with tears before too. I know you weren't on the 2016 team, but I know that you watched the interview. What was that when you saw that and he's just like, the grass is greener, 3? What can you
was that at Idaho State?
This was the Big Sky Championship game.
At Reno.
He had beaten Idaho State.
Yeah.
And because some Idaho State guys were talking trash because he left Pocatello. Can you give us your play-by-play of that?
Well, I remember seeing on video how he acted at Idaho State because he was getting crap the whole time. And I watched that game on video, and he was like, he was yelling something. And I was like, I don't even want to know what he's saying right now. But when he gets mad, he says some things. That game, I think I would have been calling it the 2016. I don't know, maybe that was 2015.
Reno was 2016. 2016. Yeah. And they'd just won, and he was in the press conference. And one of the reporters from Pocatello asked him, because those guys went to Reno.
Yeah.
And the Idaho State fans were talking trash to him again. So he brought it up, and he was just like, you know what? The grass is greener in Moscow. 3. And then you look over to Allie, and Allie is just like, 2 people. And she's just like, yeah, that's my coach.
The peace holder. Yep. That's where we're at. That's when, I'm like, he will have those moments of like intense, like pride and excitement and like, yeah, we're happy you're here. Because I mean, he brought them a championship too at Idaho State, and they weren't, going to give him enough to retain him. He didn't talk much about that relationship. So all I know is that he's very happy in Moscow, and I can affirm. I've never been to Pocatello, but I know the grass is greener and everything is probably better in Moscow.
I don't think any of us have a desire to go live in Pocatello, Idaho. Like the Panhandle just fine. Well, let's talk about Moscow. Obviously, the people, the program, the people around the athletic department were fine. But what were your comforts in Moscow? I know for me it was obviously the corner club, drinking Rainier, making me feel like I'm home, and the bagel shop, things like that. What was your Moscow comfort?
I'm with you on the corner club. There's no place like it. All the like actual socializing.
Look at the logo. Yeah.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah.
Beautiful. That's so perfect. And that's exactly what it is. It truly brings like Vandals together, and it's not just a party scene and just like dancing. Like it is a social place, and you get to talk about the game. You get to talk to each other about, you get to talk to the band. That's where you actually get to interact with people. I love the band. I'm obsessed with you guys. But I would say outside of that, I had an addiction to coffee that grew my sophomore year. So there was a place in the admin building called Sisters. You remember that?
Yeah. Oh, I used to get chai tea there all the time for my media law class.
Oh my gosh, he was upstairs. Did you have Steve Smith?
No, it wasn't Steve Smith. It was the guy who was harder than Steve Smith.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot his name. Yeah.
Blessings that Steve Smith came after him, because he was great, and he wasn't too crazy.
Yeah,
but coffee shops. Loved Red Star for most of my time. One World coffee places are my favorite. Carne asada at La Casa Lopez. Yep. I don't do red meat anymore, but oh my gosh, give me carne asada any day of the week, any moment of the day.
Especially on Wednesday night. 2-for-1 margaritas.
Yes, the best. You have one and you're like, whoa, do I need another? Yeah.
And they're just like, you can't share. So it's like, okay, well, I'll get 2 and you get 2.
And we'll down about 5 or 6 bowls of chips on our way there.
Yeah.
Oh, the best. Bagel shop, I'm so with you on that. I love the bagel shop. There's so many good spots in Moscow. And you only grow, like you only get to know more and more as you're there. Like I don't feel like that's the same case in Pullman. And I'll throw shade at Pullman. And I'll throw shade also at Barstool Wazoo, because they come up with I saw that kicker thing. Like imagine something about like making a kick.
PAT.
Yeah, I was like, dude, if you're gonna insult us, don't insult our kickers.
Yeah, no. Kicking is the one thing we know how to do. It's the one thing we know how to do. All right,
Bobby Cowan, Trey Plumford, Austin Rico, Cade Costa. Like, come on, what? Oh, so that means
y'all cannot kick right now. Yeah, cooked it. Martin, do you want to ask her about the band?
No, oh gosh, I don't really know where to, like, if I start with anything about that.
Maybe
Yeah, it was oh gosh. Was there ever?
Because Martin told me that you even though you didn't get to go to Vegas, that you did still do a lot of her games. Is there anything that you remember about covering some of those games?
No.
When the program really started to turn around?
I still I kind of remember was, oh gosh.
It feels like a long time. When did you graduate, Martin?
I don't want to get into that. 2017. But
you're a long time fan.
Yeah. It was gosh. Was there ever like, like when it hasn't come out yet, but like the Taylor and McKayla interview, they talked about like the away fans and away bands, like how they just can't compare to us. Is there anything that was not just like maybe like what I was in there, which would have been 2013 and 2014, but was there ever like is there any, could you compare? Is there any like odd like away games you have, like where the away fans or away bands would try and distract you that just didn't work?
Yeah, two examples. One of a band being just completely illegitimate, and that is the Boise State Broncos. They were trying to do our fight song.
Yeah,
They totally took our fight song.
Is a plagiarism of ours because they're not
direct plagiarism.
Supposedly about their fight song was somebody that used to be affiliated with us, like wrote it for them in the beginning. But that's what I've been told.
But ours is the original, stories. So someone for us wrote it for them.
Yeah. So that's like their fight song seems similar to ours.
Okay,
it's plagiarism. It's like everything.
Plagiarism. So I didn't know that going into it. We played at Boise State. My freshman year? I've never lost to Boise State, which I'm proud to say. My freshman year, we beat them 3 times. That's all that matters. Yeah. If I did anything, that might be the most important thing. I still hate Boise. I hate blue and orange together. I just don't do it. But once we won there, they were talking a little trash during the game, but it was just weak and it was, not great.
Come on, guys.
Yeah, I know. And so then they started playing our fight song. I think it was the end of the game because obviously our band wasn't there. It was at Boise State. And for some reason, like I'm a pretty respectful person, but when it comes to bands and like opposite fans and rivalries, I kind of transform a little bit. So I went in front of their band and was like singing our fight song. Like because they have a little like time where they do the IDHO and I did it and my team joined me and they did not like that. So that's when I first realized that Boise State plagiarized our song. And then
that, ladies and gentlemen, Alyssa Charlston is a legend. Legend.
Terrorizing bands. La Tech. I will give La Tech credit because they were pretty creative. They said something about like basketball Barbie every time I was at the free throw line. I mean that's funny because I'm blonde, I'm tall, whatever. I don't look like. I kind of took it as a compliment. I was like, "Don't look at my nails," because those don't.
You should have went up to the band and been like, "Come on, Bobby, let's go party."
I should have done that afterward, just done the whole theme song. But yeah, that was pretty creative, so I'll give La Tech credit for that. But outside of that, Seattle Youth Band Week. You guys have so much spirit, and you're so like together. Like you don't just have one person going for it. It's like one person's like, okay, we're all in. Like it. I don't know, nothing like it.
Is there a moment like when you were maybe at home or you were and the band really uplifted you, or maybe you were away and you were just like, man, I wish we had the band right now. Like I need some energy.
Definitely remember feeling that on away games. Like, where's our band? This is where it's like everything changes because you guys they're really good at like riding the momentum of the games, highs and lows. Like you were with us. And especially at the beginning of games, I guess I also a huge appreciation for bands. I loved my Luxembourg team band, but they play the entire game. They play during they play during. It's not. You probably know. Yeah, like we talked about this.
It's in Taiwan right now too. Yeah. Every at bat, like there's music the whole time. There's no time to sit and think.
Like we need to miss you when you're gone, like because then you come back and we actually miss you and like we enjoy your presence. In Luxembourg, I love them, but they just nonstop drum line, hard drum line. So, oh man, I'm trying to remember if there's any. A lot of time, it would be Mem Jim for sure when they're up on the stage and they feel like they're with us, like on the court. I love that setup. It's right there.
I remember. Because I remember in Las Vegas, who didn't bring their band to the WAC tournament? Seattle U.
Seattle U.
So during both the championship games, there was only one band. I mean, how big was that for you guys?
So big. That was so important. And we obliterated them. Like, and we didn't, as a team, we didn't obliterate them, but band-wise and spirit-wise, That was such a game changer. And I remember Meredith Metzger and Shelby were both on the band, in the band. So I was like really close with them. Oh my gosh, such great. And Kyle, wow, there's another person, like some of my jam classes. Yeah. They were just such good people. And they cared so much. Like they were so invested in it. And they were like, I remember celebrating with them after the WAC tournament, after we won the WAC championship, they came on the floor and like pictures with them. And man, that was fun. And you like being able to be friends with you now too, Sean. Like you covered us, you were there, you knew the team, like you came to interviews, like one of the few media outlets that cared about us at the time. Like that mattered so much.
But I had a choice to do the men's team or the women's team in 13, 14, and I was like, I'm gonna cover the winner. I love the boys. You know, Mike Scott. You know, that's my boy. Kyle Burrows, Madison. But I was like, I'm gonna be with the women's team this year.
If we win a championship, especially.
Yeah.
Good choice.
That was definitely one of the highlights of my Argonaut Idaho career, was being able to cover that team, cover a winner. Covering a personality like John Newley, all of it's special to me. I loved covering Pete Shola. And the football transition and all that stuff was really interesting. But the women's team and being able to go to Vegas and see that championship, it meant a lot to me too.
That's so cool. I love that. And you know our story. Like you knew our story the whole way through.
Yeah. I'm so happy that John's still there. It really broke my heart that they weren't able to play for the title this year, but totally understand. I definitely just wanted all the players to be safe, wanted all the fans to be safe. But seriously, shout out to the women's basketball team because they did make the Big Sky tournament final this year. And if I am not mistaken, they lost one final, 1-4. So this would have been John Newley's 6th conference tournament final this year that he would have played in. So,
wild.
And success. You were in the first one. So now that you're graduated, what is it like for you to see that you played a huge part in, getting this ball rolling, getting it started, getting the fact that the program now, it's 2020, you graduated in 2014, they're still playing for conference tournament titles. What is that like?
It is really cool, but it's so much about John and Krista. Those two have been there for so long, and they're such a good team together. And our coach, other coaches at the time, like Jordan Green and Christy Zeller, for me, they were all such a huge part of my growth. And they gave me the compliments of being able to hold things together. Yeah. And that, but they put the confidence in me to put that program on the direction that we wanted it to be as a player, because you've had right after I left, and it was Addie and we had a rough season that year. I think Stacey was a senior, and then they got Michaela, who, was such a gym rat. I remember hosting both of them on their, Michaela and Taylor coming on their visits, and gamers for sure, but they totally proved themselves once they got there. And Michaela was so under recruited, and I don't think people respected what she could do, and she totally changed the game too. So I think the players that come after you, John recruits the right type of people for that program that work with him, and he knows that, and he weeds them out if they're not strong enough. We had 5 girls quit my freshman year. We had 3 girls quit my sophomore year. So that's why I was the only legit senior. Addie came in as a JUCO. He weeds out the ones that he always says only the strong survive. Literally anytime someone quit or he had to kick someone off the team, it was only the strong survive. We know that. Okay. Vandals on 3. Hardcore.
Yeah.
It's so cool to be able to see them have this kind of success as we continue. It makes me so proud, because people can talk crap about, I don't like them to talk crap about football team or football success, because that is a whole nother beast. It's so hard to stay relevant. And basketball too. Don Berlin had a lot of success. But the fact that I could always be well, talk to them about women's basketball. That's a winning program, and they're going to keep doing that.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big thing for me, is people are just football's so bad. The athletic department's in shambles. I'm just Have you been to a soccer game lately?
Yeah.
Right.
It was really good. They won a conference
Sure.
championship. Have you been to a women's basketball game lately? Have you been to a volleyball game lately? Debbie Buchanan always wins games. Like, have
Yeah.
you heard about any of our track players? Hannah Kaiser, girl's a freak, right? Yeah, it's just
Insane. I have so much respect for Hannah Kaiser. My
Yeah,
Lord.
she's-
Double major. Yeah, wild. But that's tough too. Like the whole everything that happened with Rob Spear, that honestly, some of that stuff broke my heart. I know there's so much to get into with that, but that was a really tough couple years for Idaho, and it's going to be tough for them to like bounce back with all the financial stuff. And I don't know what's going to happen with every mid-major school, every school beneath Idaho. Like, how are you going to recover from the stuff that we've lost the budget? Like, Terry Golick is going to have a lot on her hands, a lot on her shoulders. But I really hope that Idaho stays strong.
Yeah, and it's gonna be on us as alums. It's gonna be on us as fans, as people with deep connections to not only Idaho, but connections with people inside the athletic department. Inside the university. We need to support them. Obviously, none of us are all that rich.
I was gonna say, I need to sign a big contract. Like, I'm really hoping like we gotta help them out this way.
There's other ways that we can support and be strong. But obviously, one way that you're supporting and is that you are now you took my spot. Now you're in the media. Now you are in the interview room. Okay, I left. I'm a teacher, and you took my spot. So. And you're a big figure here in the inland Northwest. I mean, now you're not only talking Idaho, you're talking Cougs, you're talking Eags, Zags, and the high school scene and all that. I know that you were if I'm not mistaken, you were in the School of Journalism and Mass Media at Idaho, right?
Mm-hmm.
You were studying the broadcasting. You did some Inside the Vandal stuff. But now that you're doing it professionally, how did you take the things that you learned, from John Newley, the things that you learned on the court, and how do you, use that in your reporting career now?
I think the first and most important thing was like being able to handle a ton of pressure at one time, like having all these things on your plate. I don't think people realize, like, when we go live as sports reporters, or if I'm in Vegas covering the WCC tournament, I am my own photog. I am my own editor. I am my own talent at 5 a.m, at 11 o'clock at night. So like that stuff, and like not making excuses for yourself. Like you've been through the grind of college basketball, and like preparing yourself for that. There's no better thing than college basketball. But I will say the tough transition that I've thought about lately is like I have this like athlete mentality of like, don't step on toes too much. So like early on when I was like interviewing Mark Few, like I was like, I don't want to ask him about this because like I know John hated talking about injuries, and you have to get over that because you have to be unbiased. And I think it's helped me now because I'm like, I know what you're hiding. I know I saw that, and like I'm gonna ask about it now. So
that's what I appreciated about John, is I could even just go to his office and I asked him about Louisville, and he was just like, he used the 4-letter word, and he was just like, there shouldn't have been a 3 seed. It was ridiculous. It was such bull malarkey. Like, I appreciate it, but he wasn't afraid. I don't think his bosses liked it, but I liked it.
He told it to you straight up. Like for us though, there was a little bit of like censorship. Like you have to be we keep things tight to our team. And when you enter another locker room now, you're like, oh, you guys are like, you look at us a little bit differently. Not like you can't get in our circle, because people like you, like, as like you, Madison, like you guys knew as much as, we wanted you guys to know stuff because you're responsible with what you knew. But there's crossing the line between an athlete and becoming someone in the media. It's like you have to let go of some of the rules that you had as an athlete, and like the mind restrictions of like, I don't know, should I say this? Should I tweet this? Like that other media people don't have as much. Like they go for it. And I've learned to learn from them and learn from you. And like, it's just, it's like ever evolving process.
It is, and media itself is an ever evolving process. I mean, so it's always important to be always growing and always thinking on your toes. How have you been, handling this COVID situation? I know you did a story on me, an Idaho alum involved in Taiwanese baseball, but I mean, I think, I know high school football is going a little bit, but there's no Pac-12. Idaho football most likely not playing this fall, but I think there might be a little inkling on that coming up in the future. I mean, how are you trying to keep yourself busy, look for stories, not going quarantine crazy?
Yeah, I think initially it was really weird, like anchoring from home. Like when I interviewed you, I was anchoring strictly from my kitchen. But it, like, one of the positives was finding a story like that. Like, that was so cool, and putting that story together was so much fun. Like, Taiwan is able to have fans at games back in, how
May.
close was it?
It's
Yeah,
May.
so are they full fans now? Like full?
Stadiums are like 75% full. There's still like a little bit of distancing, but it's safe.
COVID numbers?
COVID numbers, just like local transmissions that like in the last 3 months are below like 15 or 20. Yeah.
That's so fascinating.
That's why I'm able to later, like in 2 hours, I will walk into a classroom and teach kids.
And teach kids in person.
In person.
That's so wild. I just think that was so like, it's given us opportunities to reach out and be creative and, reach way across the pond, but you're an Idaho grad, like doing this cool thing. So initially it was tough, but it was like, okay, we got to do a lot more storytelling. And then I kind of became a scientist for a little bit. Like, maybe this will happen if we do this. And like, you kind of make stuff up and like, you're reading about stuff. Like, I was talking about myocarditis on the air, like, not like it's a fun thing to talk about, but for a while it's like you're giving these facts that are so different. And like, my live shots now are about social distancing, and you have to become a little bit more of like a news reporter. It's totally important. And that's the path back to having sports. So as of late, all we have is Idaho high school football. And for me, like, being totally frank, the rest of the fall, I don't know what I'm going to be doing. Like, I love KXLY. They've done everything they can for me, but there's no guarantee that I get to stay here. So for all the people that have struggled with, losing their jobs and everything like that in this, like, I totally empathize with those kind of people, like with those situations. And I really hope Pac-12 can happen, but we're kind of relying on college basketball, Gonzaga putting a bubble together and hosting a bunch of teams, because right now it's almost like a holding pattern. Hold everything off until July, hold life off until July, which is kind of cool because everything's way more relaxed and I'm not like running around with my hair on fire all the time. But yeah, it's so different. It's so weird. There's so much that we don't know what's going to happen. And I don't know if you saw, but the first college football player died of COVID today.
Wow, did not see that news.
Like an hour ago or 2 hours ago, it was reported. California University in Pennsylvania or something is death related to COVID. Did you see that, Martin?
I saw something about that. I know it was one of the first or the first one.
So who knows if that's going to affect anything. I doubt it with the SEC and ACC and Big 12, but you never know.
That's the thing. That's the thing that I hope people at home, remember about the media is that us in the media, people in the media, they're just trying to just report the world as it is today. We're not rooting for leagues to close. We're not rooting for COVID. We're rooting for. We're not even rooting. I mean, we will call out leagues. Like, if they're going to do something irresponsible and things that aren't safe, like, it should be called out. And if there's facts that support that this is going to be unsafe, it also needs to be said. But at the same time, it affects the livelihood of sports reporters as well. And the only world that sports reporters want is one where people are safe, COVID is gone, and games can be played safely. So it's
perfect way to put it.
It's a moving situation. I'm glad that you're safe. And I'm glad that you're able to get some good stories out there. But hopefully, yeah, I didn't know about the bubble situation in Gonzaga either. So that's interesting to think about.
Mathew talked about it on the podcast, I think, like with Andy Katz, and Andy Katz might have, furthered the idea afterward. But I mean, like you have a few teams that you do play in the non-conference schedule, and then some teams that you don't, and you tell Creighton, hey, if you come here, you can play Baylor or you can play Texas. Throw that in your non-conference, but there's a lot. Yeah, lots of money involved. So
yeah. Well, come on, Idaho, get up. Quick drive. It's a quick drive. Let's go.
They want them in that bubble. Come on.
All right. Well, Martin, do you have anything you want to add?
I do got one thing. I was kind of like, I maybe jumped around a little bit, but what was it like when you heard that, like, John was recruiting Gina, and that kind of was your reaction to that? Like,
Gina Martin,
Yeah, Gina Martin. So for those that don't know, that might be listening, my cousin, known her since she was born, adopted from China, and I'm obsessed with her. That was a really surreal moment. Honestly, once I heard that she was telling me that she was talking to, because she relied on me a lot throughout the recruiting process, and she was getting recruited by UW and Arizona and a lot of Pac-12 schools, and so I was like, I bet Idaho is going to be on her. And Krista, the assistant coach, kind of told me, like, dude, your cousin is a baller and we want her bad. And I was like, that would be so, so amazing. Like, but I didn't know how she was going to be recruited, how that process was going to go. So we had a lot of long walks outside in Sammamish with coffee. Sorry to her parents, my aunt and uncle, I got her addicted to coffee, but I don't regret it at all. That it was surreal to once she told me that they offered her and that she was like keeping them in her top three. Well, I'm like getting the chills thinking about it because it's so cool. It's her own legacy. Like, I had my time and now she's doing her thing and she is so good. I love watching her play. I'm like, I didn't teach you that. I didn't teach you anything, but she's so good. And my heart truly breaks for her that she didn't get to play this year because, man, they totally could have beaten Montana State. They had so many close. They had a close game with them at home
in Bozeman.
Yes. Oh man, they totally should.
We were playing well enough to do it.
Yeah, and she's just the floor leader. I'm just so proud. Like, she leads differently, but she is, she's so good. She's just so much fun to watch, and she's so humble. She's got a heart of gold, and so yeah, thank you for bringing that up because I love talking about her and bragging about her. And we can both come back one day and come to like a homecoming or something. Like, that's the cool thing too. I'm looking forward to having these relationships forever and like always be proud Vandals and have it in our family forever.
But if she doesn't have 2 rings, then you're gonna throw that in her face.
Have to. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah, I have those back in Sammamish. They are hidden away. I don't think my parents are gonna try to get into them, but yeah, I'll put those on next time I see her.
All right. So to close, we have a segment called "Getting Iced," and that's where you get to ask us anything. Me 1 question, or Martin 1 question, or the same question to both of us.
Ooh. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna go Martin first.
Okay.
I need to think about yours. Martin,
Okay.
if you had to choose between watching the 2014 Vandal team forever and watching the 2016 Vandal team forever, which one did you choose?
Oh, 2016, hands down. Like,
Oh boy.
Wrong answer.
Team was too special to me. That run in Reno, Waco after the game was fun.
I was in Waco. I was shooting that.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Shotgun.
Yeah, those
beers
are the ones that you got to go on.
Graduate assistant. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
So were you like connected with, like, were you just like in it with the team? Like, how, did you just know them well? Like, what was it? What did you love about it?
We knew them well, and Abby, the student director, was friends with Allie, I want to say, or was talking with Allie a lot.
Got it.
And then we kind of because I think kind of like sarcastically, like someone in the band always kind of brought up like, oh, we should party with them. And someone brought it up after. They brought cake to us after the game.
Oh, I
sang the
love
fight
it.
song. It was like, it wasn't like a full cake, but we got something after the game. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, that's awesome. That makes me happy. Those girls are special. I should have known from the freaking jerseys hanging behind you. Special players. So much fun. Okay, Sean, this one's tough. I have a lot of questions that I could ask. Okay. I almost want to ask a football question.
Do it.
You want it?
I have some new friends come up to my room. I'm going to relocate my computer.
Let's see. How long do you think Petrino will be there? And do you think they'll have successful seasons in the next couple of years?
That's a big question.
Oh, and I have a follow-up, but it's not
Okay,
really.
I really believed that Paul was going to jump after the FCS transition. I was really on that wagon that said, "Oh, yeah, Paul's going to get out." He didn't sign up for FBS. When he was hired, he was probably told by Rob that they were going to fight for FBS, and I was really surprised at how on board he was with the FCS because he got really attached to the players, to the program he was building. And I think the one thing that I do know about Paul is, family is so important to him. His two oldest kids are in college now. Mason has graduated. And he still has one more kid, and she's grown up in Moscow since she was like 7 years old. She's probably in junior high now, almost high school. So I think he might stay until she's graduated from high school because that's really important to him. Maybe the next 4 years. I was a little excited for this year. The defense started to come together. I think there's a lot of talent in the quarterback room. I think we just need a couple more steps, but losing this season really hurts because we really needed a lot more development. But I'm confident in Paul's ability to develop players and identify talent because he did that in 2016.
Yeah.
So I think he'll be here at least another 2-3 years, and I'm confident that'll come with a playoff appearance.
Yeah, and I wonder with the eligibility thing, how many guys will try to stay and how Idaho plans to deal with that, like their stars and
so many unknowns.
Right? My other question is, since you put it on Twitter, the funnest thing for me to follow is your girlfriend or dating someone. Bringing her to games, the winning, the losing, we won't go to this game because there's so much fun to watch. How's that going, and how's the dating scene in Taiwan?
So I do have a girlfriend now. Her name is Delphine. I brought her.
Congrats.
She's the girl on my Twitter picture. She's 1-0 at Fubon games, but she's not too big into baseball. She only went, because she wanted to support me.
Yeah.
But she's 1-0, so I need to bring her to more because we're right in the middle of a playoff race.
Are you?
By the way, Mariners also in it. Let's go, Nerds.
Dude, come on. They're looking so good. Did they win tonight? I didn't check. I know they
won. To Theo Lawson's San Francisco Giants.
Gosh, dang it. They were only two games back last night.
Houston won and lost, so we're still New York lost also, so still 2 games back. 2 games back. We're still in. Baby, let's go, Nerds.
Let's go. This is the year. It's gonna happen. It has to.
Oh God.
They're so good. They're so fun to watch, and they're so young.
I know the young players. I love the young talent that we have on this team. So even if we, I love it. Even if we don't make the playoffs, it's like, okay, cool. We still played well. We still have talent. Like Justice Sheffield made a jump. Kyle Lewis made a jump. Evan White. It's like, let's go.
Yeah. Even Dylan Moore doing well. Marco, come on.
Marco, yeah, your boy. That's your boy. That's your boy. I remember I got the interview one-on-one with Marco in Tokyo. I think I sent you that story. Yeah, that was a fun thing.
Yes, you did. Oh, man.
On his first game, ace. Yeah. So
one of my best buds.
You're hearing about
His
that all the
wife.
time. Yeah.
They're just such a good
If you don't
one.
know, Alyssa Charlston is best friends with Marco Gonzalez's wife.
Best of
Yes.
friends since like 7th grade. We go way back.
Yeah.
And then she marries this
Yeah.
guy. And we love him.
Yeah, this guy. Oh, the number one starter on the Seattle Mariners.
I don't know if you saw that a couple years ago happening, but it's happening.
Yeah.
Love it.
All right. Well, we want to thank Alyssa Charlston for taking some time out to be with us on the Tubs at the Club podcast. A great friend of Tubs at the Club, someone I consider a friend of mine, Vandal legends, and an amazing reporter. Where can they find you on the social media sphere?
On Twitter, it's at Alyssa Charlston, ALYSSA CHARLSTON. There's no E in Charleston. And same thing on Instagram. And yeah, 4 News Now if you're in Spokane or the greater Spokane region, Coeur d'Alene, all the way out to Wenatchee, I think. So.
Oh, Wenatchee. Okay. Yes. Okay. Alyssa Charlston is one of the ace sports reporters in the Inland Northwest area, and we look forward to hopefully seeing her able to safely cover more athletic events, hopefully as the situation improves. All right, Martin. Yeah. Martin, do you have anything else to add?
No, I got nothing.
Well, I want to say thank you. You guys are awesome. It's so much fun to be with you guys, and you're carrying on the tradition. We need people talking about Vandals, and we need people eventually drinking Rainier and all other types of beer at the club.
Also, Montucky Cold Snacks, sponsor of Tubs at the Club. Drink Montucky Cold Snacks. There will be an ad read later in the podcast. Drink Montucky Cold Snacks.
Montucky is the best. That's really good too.
It is. All right. Well, we appreciate you for having us on, or we appreciate you on with me and Martin.
Podcast now.
Yes, podcast now. You're the professional, not me anymore. All right, and Martin, thank you for joining us as well.
You're welcome.